and not in secret, feeling brimful of shame and confusion. Chapter 1. Present day. Sam Morgan pulled over into the muddy gap beside a 5-bar gate that led into the fields behind Tindledale station, and switched off the engine of his tank-like old Land Rover. He undid his seatbelt and tried to relax as he sat in silence, watching a plump robin perched on the gate, its stout crimson breast in stark contrast to the virginal white of the spring evening frost. Sam was sure he'd read somewhere years ago that robins signified new beginnings. Well, he sure hoped that was true. He wound down the window and inhaled, drinking in the surroundings, as if drawing strength from the familiarity of the sycamore trees that led down to the train track, the place where he had always come to think, right back from when he was just a young boy. Peering into the rearview mirror, he pushed a hand through his messy dark hair, and then pulled his lower eyelids down to inspect his conker-brown eyes, which were bloodshot and dry after the 10-hour flight from Singapore. But it was going to be worth it. A new job, a year-long contract, which he hoped would be more than enough time to fix things. He would be right here, redeveloping the Blackwood farm estate. He'd have less responsibility than he was used to, but it meant being back home in Tindledale. And it would be the perfect opportunity to put everything right with his family. His daughter Holly would be 14 soon. Her birthday was just around the corner, so he really wanted to do that. More than anything. His phone buzzed in his pocket, making him jump. Since when did Tindledale have full mobile coverage? Things sure have changed since I was last home. He couldn't believe it was almost a year. Why on earth had he left it so long? On seeing that it was Dolly, his gran, he pushed the button to take the call. "Hello, Sam, love. How are you getting on?" she asked, in her familiar country accent. "I'm almost home, Gran. Shan't be much longer." He glanced at the clock on the dashboard and quickly calculated that he'd arrived at the airport over 3 hours earlier, which is when he had called her to say that the plane had landed safely. She had insisted he let her know immediately when he touched down. Dolly didn't trust aeroplanes, having only ever been on one in her lifetime, and it had taken 2 attempts to land on the tiny holiday island of Mykonos before reaching terra firma. Dolly had never forgotten it, and had vowed to stay in the village ever since, or travel to faraway places only by coach. So it was the least he could do to put her mind at rest, especially as she and her second husband, Colin, a coach driver she had met on one of those trips to a faraway place, had kindly offered Sam their spare bedroom to stay in for the duration of his new contract, if need be. But it had taken ages to find the long-term parking place next to the airport, and then even longer to defrost the lock on the driver's door so he could actually get into his car, which had been standing outside in all weathers since he'd last been home to Tindledale. And the parking bill had been astronomical, almost as much as the ancient old Land Rover was worth. But it served him right, Sam figured. He really should have come home sooner. "Oh, well, that's very good now," Dolly chuckled kindly. "We're really looking forward to seeing you, son. I've got your favourite cottage pie with a cheesy mashed topping, keeping warm inside barrel, all ready for your dinner when you get here." Sam grinned, fondly remembering the extended name of his gran's buttercup yellow Aga, Beryl the Peril, on account of her being quite temperamental, often needing a tweak to get going, making her perilously unreliable at times. One Christmas, when he was a boy, they had eaten their turkey dinner with all the trimmings at 9 o'clock in the evening, thanks to Beryl conking out at the crucial moment. They'd had to take the tin-foil-covered turkey in its tray round to the neighbours next door to cook in their conventional oven, and Dolly had been devastated. Christmas dinner was always at 1 sharpish in her house, and quite a magnificent affair. Except that year. "I can't wait. Thanks, Gran." Sam smiled fondly, momentarily feeling like that 12-year-old boy again, and given that he was pushing 42, there sure was a certain comfort in that. "Right you are. Cheerio, Sam," she said, and then added,